So, good evening, YouTube. So nice to see you all here. For those that have already are waiting to come in, there is a slight delay on the monitor, so I've just got to get it up to speed. And once I've got it up to speed, everything will be okay. And I hate watching a lag. So as always, in the questions in the top chat or the chat part at the bottom right hand part of your screen, you will see somewhere that you can write. That's where I engage with you as the audience, so you can get your questions in there. As always, there is some plugs that need to be done. As always, unfortunately, that's the nature of it. So I do have 2 workshops left at the end of this year. That is October the 6th and the 27th, I think. All workshops can be found on the page on Facebook, Medium Charlie Kelly. And also I am now taking places on the mentorship, which is like 3/4 full now for next year also. So things are going well, things are looking up. Process of a lot going on right now, but I had the opportunity to get a live feed in, and so decided to jump on board and get a live feed done. So if you're in the room, leave me a comment so I can say hi to everyone and see who's in and what's going on, and then we can start going through your development questions or happenings that you've been having during your development, or you know, at home, whatever it'll be, whatever your questions are. We can go from there, we can take it from there, and we'll see what happens. So there's not many of you on tonight at the minute, so it may be a short live feed, but ho-hum. A little one is better than nothing at all, isn't it? So we'll see what happens. It might grow over the course of the evening. But without your questions, I have no reason to be on, so it's one of those. I do need your questions and your queries so I can give you my take on it. Or my viewpoint, my angle, my experience, all of those things that some of you find value in. So it's worth doing them. I get more nervous doing these live feeds than I do a demonstration. You know, I'm growing more and more used to being in the public and on the platform. But the build up to these, like 40 minutes prior to going live on air on YouTube, really gives me butterflies. So there's no training for it, really. There's no training whatsoever. So let's have a look. So I received a question via my Facebook. I get a lot of questions via Facebook, and a lot of people they don't like to leave their name, or certainly for me to use their name. So I have to do it quite anonymously a lot of the time. And my back, I've done my back today. It's absolutely killing me at the moment. So I will keep adjusting my seating position, trying to find somewhere that doesn't hurt. Yeah, so back to the questions. So I received one the other day. Now, I've been recording all day, trying to get on top of some sort of batch recording for the channel, because I'm uploading Monday, Wednesday and Friday, as you can see, scroll along the bottom of the screen down there. And if you want to be notified of those, just click the little bell, and it will ping up on your phone or on your tablet or whatever it is that you're using, to let you know that I've uploaded. And all the videos are based on questions that I get asked during the week, or on my Facebook or on YouTube, whatever it will be. There is this need out there for people to find it easier, or to understand mediumship in a little bit easier, a little bit of an easier way. That lighting's not very good, is it? It's quite dull. So give me a moment. I'm just going to adjust the light. So you shouldn't leave the screen on set, but I'm going to. My apologies. So That should be a little bit better. You should be able to see me a little bit better now. Not much better. I don't know why the moment I go live, it goes a little bit funny. Anyway. So yeah, so I get questions all the time, and I received a question which I've done a video for actually this week. So I'm going through the process of editing them, and then I'll get them scheduled out Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and in between I may vlog with some of them. And the question was, and I said I would answer it on the live feed, but I did also create a video for it. So for you guys to, hopefully you may find something that has been bothering you. Maybe you're not brave enough to sort of jump on and leave your question. I know it can be a little bit scary and your name gets called out and whatever. But if you're thinking it, then someone else must be thinking it. And so you're actually helping people by asking the questions that you find, that you struggle with, that you've had difficulty with in your own development. So anyway, so it says, hi Charlie, I just wanted to ask, do you need to be totally at peace with yourself and have dealt with all your demons to connect to spirit? And I think what I've said in the video, and something that you can look at, is the volume all right on the on the YouTube? It seems to be bottoming out there. I can slightly adjust it if it's a bit of a problem. So that's slightly adjusted there. So let me know if it's any better for you, because I've got a little monitor that tells me what's going on. Anyway, so through the process of development, you're going to come across facets of you that you don't like, areas that you know that need looking at and that you should have looked at, and all of that kind of stuff. Lots and lots of problems that you've just had throughout your entire life. And so the process of spiritual development, and I don't just mean mediumship, I mean the entire process is something that makes you look at you anyway. And so it can be a very a difficult journey, especially if it's an emotional one. Most of them are emotional, something we haven't dealt with, you know, like an old relationship or a family breakdown. They're quite big ones that go on, you know. Maybe there was an element of neglect in either or there. And so what we do is we suppress that and we keep it in, and through that suppression it starts to show, it starts to rear up many years later when we go on these unfoldments, you know, like whether it be a spiritual journey or a mediumship journey. And through that process, we start to go through the problems that we know that we've encountered during our time. And it just seems to be that the mediumship development seems to rear them up all the time. That's why when you go to these like residential courses, by sort of Tuesday or Wednesday, sort of 2-3 days in, you're an emotional wreck, because you're having to look at all of these processes that are going on in your head, and you're mentally trying to process them, but you're also emotionally attached to it. So you end up going through these really weird, like, roller coaster rides because of the development aspect that you're going through. So so do you have to have dealt with all of that? I don't know anyone that's dealt with it all, to be honest with you. And a lot of mediums that I know are wrecks as well. You know, they're far from perfect and nowhere near perfect, but certainly the ones that I mingle with are in that process of trying to fix it, trying to highlight it, trying to look at it to see what it is that they can do to better themselves. But in that process, they would have learned so much on that suppression, on how did they get over that hurdle in their life. So do you need to be completely at one with yourself? I don't know anyone that is. So the answer is no there. Followed up by, do spirit hold back because you are not ready? Absolutely not. So what happens is I always need a prop. I should really have like a table full of props. But what they do is they come in as an entirety, as the package. So as that information comes into my mind, I get the entire life of the communicator in that moment. So there is no holding back. They're not gonna go, they're not gonna say you can have that little bit there, and I'm gonna keep this bit back here. So you know, we want you to talk to our loved one, but we're not gonna tell you that bit. So we're gonna leave that back. So and I don't mean that to sound rude. I'm trying to make it really simplistic for you to understand that the entirety comes in. The entirety goes into my mind. The entirety of their story is there. The reason we can't get it or we can't find it is because our mediumship hasn't gone that far yet. Excuse me. And we're not used to going, looking and asking questions. That's the biggest problem I see in mediumship is like, Charlie, how did you get that piece of information? I asked them for it. And so it's one of those that you've got to learn that this is a conversation. I'm having a chat with them. So hopefully that answers my viewer's question. That one was sent in via Facebook. So I've got my phone here in case they start firing in on Facebook also, because some people are just really frightened of that live chat box with their name popping up there. Okay, so what have we got here? What's that? Triangle Wolf. You had stated in one of your vids that the reason why one student didn't get anything in regard to your uncle never having a job is because he never had one. But wouldn't that be in your frame of reference instead of his or hers? I'm honestly trying to just understand why you made that statement. No, yeah, I can understand what you mean, but if I'm asking a question, what mediums do is they don't argue, they don't sort of get involved, they don't have a conversation like I'm reading your statement now, and now I can come back and I can answer it. I can give you a well-informed answer through the mechanics of my mediumship, and it tends to be that my uncle probably did say, well, I never worked, mate. I never worked. So you're asking me about a job, but I never worked. He doesn't know me to have had a job. But what mediums do is they don't listen to that. They kind of question that. And through that questioning, the dilution, their normal mind kicks into play. And so the easiest way or the simplistic of ways to give that would be to have a nothing answer. So what did you do for a job? A nothing answer means nothing. Therefore, I need to express nothing. So granted, it is my term of reference, absolutely. But one that throughout my classes and my residentials that I do, that seems to be like an overwhelming stat where it seems to be correct. So, but I totally understand where you're coming from there. Right, let's have a look. Okay, so is it triangle? I don't know if it's meant, if I'm saying that wrong. My apologies if I am saying that wrong. So triangle wolf. Yeah, okay. Why would someone say they get headaches when they are around a medium who is receiving messages in a dem? Are they picking up something physically from others or what? Why would they get a headache? Again, another good question. So you're obviously going to demonstrations, and there will be various reasons. So sorry, I've got to keep flicking screen. I just ain't got used to it at all there at the moment. So why would they be getting headaches? Now, usually my stock answer for that would be is because they are a developing medium themselves, and they are looking for the information. They are watching how the medium is working. So if they are going into the mechanic of mediumship, so they are looking for the spirit world with said medium, that process is using a muscle in the brain that they're not used to using. So let's say you've got an hour's demonstration and the student in this example, maybe where they're going to watch mediums and learn what mediumship is through the observation tactic, then they are looking for what's going on. And because they're looking for it, in effect, they are also working. So I may be an accomplished runner, which I ain't, by the way, but I may be an accomplished runner, and I may run 5k every morning. 5k, not 5k, 5k every morning. And so I do that for, say, 3 months. And then my friend joins me for a run because they are also an accomplished runner, but they're used to running 15k every morning. So just because I'm enjoying their company and I want to join them on their run, and I try to run the 15 kilometers, what happens is that at about 10 kilometers, I'm really tired. I've done 2 days worth of running in one hit. And now I've got another day, in effect, added on top of it. So my legs start to hurt, my feet start to hurt, my back starts to hurt, my breathing's irregular, and it's because I'm trying to do too much to what I have trained for. I've trained for 5 kilometers, not 15. And so that is why they will be picking up a headache in that example. Another example could be that they are sitting in the energy. They're not used to that energy. They're not comfortable in that energy, and therefore it just feels like, and their symptom of that will be that they're getting a headache. It could simply be that they need a glass of water. They're dehydrated in some way. So is it picking up someone's physical problems, like the person sitting beside them? They may be suffering from headaches. That's an absolute possibility. But that means they're looking for that. They're going in psychically. They're reading that person, and because they're reading that person, they're picking up the symptoms of a headache. So there's a few reasons why that could happen. Are the spirit world giving them a headache? Absolutely not. The spirit world don't harm. So it won't be through any kind of intention from the spirit world there. It will be where the mind of that individual is going. So I hope I've answered your question there, Triangle Wolf. Okay, so on my screen it's froze. I don't know if it's froze anywhere else. So you're going to have to say hi to me or something like that in the comments, so I know it's still going through. Bit of a disaster. Okay, cool. That's good. So I'm intrigued about your name now, Triangle Wolf. So let me know what made you think of that name, or how did you come up with that name. I know there's a reason there for it. So and I'm intrigued now. So it'd be nice to see what that's about. So hi Amanda. Hi Mia. So hi Charlie. Everyone in Sweden. Hi everyone. Sweden is watching. So welcome. I welcome you from Sweden. Well done. So it's nice to see that it's travelling that far. And the stream seems to be okay. So mine is frozen completely on my screen. So if I thought working with a buffer screen was difficult, working with one where my hand is just stuck up on the monitor is a absolute nightmare. So I need more of your questions. There's more questions. There's got to be more questions from you guys. So as I said, I knew it was going to be a quiet one when I jumped onto this one. A few people have inboxed me to say that they're unable to make it. They can't be here tonight, unfortunately, so on and so forth. So, cool. So, what is? Yeah, it's still not caught up with me on mine. So I don't know what happens if that goes wrong. Oh, you got it from a favourite book, and you're from the US. That's nice. So whereabouts in the US are you from, Triangle? Where are you from in Switzerland, Mia, as well? That'll be nice to know that as well. So yeah, so on the back to the California. Nice. I bet you the weather's absolutely gorgeous there at the minute. So Cal, yeah. Yeah, so creating videos. I've just been editing a video on the hacks of mediumship, and I enjoyed doing it. If I'm honest, it's a longer video than normal. I try and keep them at between 5 and 10 minutes, but I couldn't keep this one under 15 minutes. I really struggled. So it's like spiritual hacks for you to improve your own mediumship in a bite-sized kind of way. It's much easier if we can drop the restrictions in our mediumship. We can really move it forward much quicker. The problem that we have is that I'm listening to my buddy, or that teacher told me this, and now that becomes my normal. And then the moment that becomes my normal, it's very difficult to break down any kind of barrier there. And we create those barriers, we create those restrictions. So this latest video that I've been editing is hacks of mediumship, how to overcome those barriers, how to move your progression along much quicker without the feeling of it's unachievable or you're not enlightened enough. And unfortunately, I think a lot of training, you're led to believe that in some way, that you're not enlightened enough, or you haven't had enough training, and the explanations of some of the mechanics or the processes of mediumship seem so in depth that you can't possibly comprehend it just now. And so that's the purpose of the channel altogether, is just to show you that it's super easy. It's really easy, and the moment we can sort of understand us, we can understand that process, and through that process we can then progress our mediumship much quicker. So Carl, we've got all these people from outside the UK. I usually do these live feeds and it's full of people from the UK, but we've got Mia from Stockholm in Sweden, so that's great. We've got Anne from Switzerland. Whereabouts in Switzerland are you from, Anne? And Triangle Wolf from Cali in the USA. So all good. It's nice to see so many countries getting involved in the in my channel. It's quite surreal sometimes. It really is quite surreal. Okay, so Triangle Wolf says, when mediums refer to spirit, are you talking about God, your spirit team, or all of the spirit world, including the God energy? When mediums refer to spirit, I think each individual will answer that question completely differently, Triangle Wolf. So my apologies if it comes across wrong. But Neuchâtel, cool. My interpretation of when I am working with spirit. So if I'm stood upon a stage or a platform and I am demonstrating my mediumship, and I refer to spirit, I refer to them as the individual consciousness of said loved ones. So that may be your mum or your dad or your brother or your sister or your mate, whatever it'll be. My mind is gone to the spirit world to work with spirit, and that is to show the intelligence through an evidential expression of that. So when I say spirit, I mean communicators, as in spirit. However, God's on a bit of a bad ride right now. So you mentioned God in certain parts of the world, and you can cause absolute carnage, can't you? There can be like wars. I mean, they're still fighting over it now, aren't they? So that God aspect for me, if I was to use that word, would be the essence of that spirit that I talk about. And so the spirit always goes back to spirit. It goes back to the energy. It goes back to the source. It goes back to its original form. And that original form as a collective is that God-like state that I refer it to. So for me, God is not an individual. And that's quite hard to comprehend with the human mind, because we give everything a label or a banner. But it's the oneness of it all that is the God aspect for me. My spirit team includes the God energy. Yep, definitely. My spirit team is part of the spirit world. And without it sounding a little bit weird, it's not... A lot of people use the term layers, you know, like, so like what frequency or what layer are they at? I'm not really comfortable with that kind of terminology. But for the sake of it, to make it nice and simple, is that the layer that I work with, that frequency that I work with, I call that my team. And so the more and more I open my mind and the more I understand mediumship, that layer seems to be broader. It seems to just get bigger and bigger, giving me more access. So that might mean that I'm adjusting the frequency. It might mean that I've adjusted my vibration. Who knows? I'm here with you. But my team seems to grow at a good rate, because I'm constantly looking for betterment within that mediumship. But the simplistic answer is that it is all at that God energy, as you have labelled it. It's all the oneness. It's just how they express that individual character that walk the earth, because that's the evidential value that I need to be giving on a public level. Sophie has asked, I was asked recently whether a spirit can still feel upset about something that happened when they were alive. I answered no, but it can't be proved, can it? Okay, it's a good question. So Sophie has asked that. I don't know why, on the channel, or did I miss it, or I don't know. Who knows? Okay, so they're still stuck. It's a nightmare, that. Okay, so I was asked recently whether spirit can still feel upset about something that happened when they were alive. Now, the reason they would express that they were upset about said subject while they were on Earth as a human being, as that physical matter, is the only reason they would bring it up is because of the evidence that will carry. So it's evidential that they were upset because them two split up, or she run off with him, and so on and so forth, and now she's upset because of what it did to the family, so on and so forth. That kind of stuff. They would express the upset because it's evidential to their time on Earth. Are they still upset about that? Absolutely not. Now, you are right, Sophie, it can't be proved, but we can eliminate certain parts of that process that you go through mediumship in your mind there. So you go back to the purity of the essence of spirit. So when you go back to the purity, the things that we get upset about, the things that we have a problem with, are of this physical sensory realm that we live in, and because of that, those restrictions are now lifted the moment we transit from the physical to the spiritual. Therefore, we would have no reason to be upset about the house. We'd have no reason for that, or the money, or the whatever subject matter that is, simply because it's of a physical nature. They see, they know, they know what they've learned, what they've done through that process by going back to the spirit world, and they realise, do you know what, I wasted so many years being bitter about that, or I wasted all of that time overthinking that, overanalyzing that, blaming them for this, blaming them for that, and they realise that they wasted so much time doing that because it's of the physical or sensory realm that we occupy as a human. And so they are enlightened as such in that sense. They see, oh, what an idiot! I wasted so much time and energy on that, and that's why we find it easier to let go of things. People that are in development or on a spiritual journey find it easier not to feed a negative with a negative. When I work with the spirit world, it tends to be very, very positive, but they will discuss the negative aspects of their story, because it's their story, it's their evidence. So it's just a talking about. Okay. Oh, okay. Right. So Sophie's having problems getting top chat up. Okay. So so Mia, some mediums explain communication problems during mediumship by saying it's a three-way process. That's all affects the info that the medium gets, the ability of the spirit person, the medium, the recipient. It is a three-way process. You are absolutely right. I'm not sure I can blame it down to that though. So the story will always arrive. It will always be there. I kind of need another prop really, which I will have to sort out for next time. So let me try and find something that will do that. Let me lean over and grab this. That's as close as I'm going to get to the prop that I need. Okay, so oh, it's mirrored. It's a nightmare. Spirit world, medium, recipient, and this link needs to be maintained at all times for the process to work. If one of those links breaks down, then the communication's over. It's over because it's not the triangle anymore. It doesn't work anymore. And so what happens is that you might not be expressing that properly for the recipient to understand what it is that you're trying to say. Now, I've got to be careful here because it's I don't know the medium in question that you're talking about. And I do know some mediums. I don't really know too many from Sweden. I know a few, but I don't know their work enough. And what will happen is that you can come across as quite arrogant. And through that arrogance, you're forcing information onto people. And so you will have this and you will have that and blah, 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 blah. Which will immediately put the recipients back up and go, actually, you're wrong. So no matter what you say, you're telling me he was 60, but he was actually 55. So you're 5 years out, you're wrong. And they just will not move on it because of the energy that it carries. It's aggressive, it's arrogant. They've gone on shutdown and I don't want you to work with my dad, blah, 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 blah. So that can be a bit of an issue there. However, the recipient, the communicator, will still give you the entirety of the communication. It will all be there. The breakdown will be between me and recipient. So my relationship with the recipient will break down. And because of that is when that communication will fail. So what a lot of mediums will do is they will get the hump, they will throw a hissy fit because it's not going well. They're not looking great. They're not looking like superstars or not looking like they know what they're doing right now. So they go into panic mode, and that's when it can really come out really badly or really wrong. And so we need to maintain the relationship that we are building with said client plus audience. So if I can educate the audience on this is the process, this is how it works, and if I say that he's about 60, then 58, 59 should be acceptable in some way there. Granted, it's not pinpoint, but it should be maybe a little bit of leeway there. Should fix that problem. But I have seen it, and I have been a culprit of it also, where I know I'm right and I know that it's this, but it's just coming out wrong. So I've had to adjust the way that I'm saying it just to fix that in some way, knowing that I've got to keep the 3 points of contact. So I see that there is a little bit of a problem going on there. So I'm going to do the dreaded reload. So give me one moment. And hopefully this will fix that. Damn. Is it back? Is it back? I don't know if it's back. It looks like it's back. So that's a good thing. We will see. Hopefully that's fixed it up for you. So feed picture has gone a little distorted. Okay, so I've hit refresh. So hopefully you're all still there, and there's not too much of an issue going on there now. Some things I get a feeling they kind of blame the spirit person indirectly. I would fully agree with you there, Mia. And if I'm honest, that really, really infuriates me that they are blaming the spirit world through their lack of understanding or their lack of professionalism for the sake of ego. It's simply, I'm important here. You need to be listening to me. If we can just deal with that ego, which again I have covered a video on, then we can sidestep that and realize that it's actually the medium that's at fault, and through that you will progress because you're accepting, you know, I should have done that better, I should have communicated that better, I should have asked this, I should have done that, and then your mediumship will pick up. The flat spots, the plateaus in development will always come because you're not prepared to look at your failings for the betterment of you as a communicator and as a medium. So and I just feel that's kind of rude and a way of not taking responsibility. Absolutely, Mia, absolutely. Totally agree. I mean the medium in the translator. Yeah, I totally agree. So and is okay now. Good. So it's all back to oh, mine's froze again here, which is a nightmare. Don't know what to do about that. Okay, so having difficulty with that, probably too much on the internet going on all at once, which is a bit of a nightmare. However, it is a good connection. I don't know why it would do that, but we're surviving at the moment, so we'll see where it goes. So is there any more questions from my people in the room for me to answer? I need your questions to oh, okay, I think I've missed one there. Yeah, I have. Okay, so some mediums explain communication problems. I've just done that one, haven't I? Yeah. So what are your thoughts about this? Meditation. Question by Triangle Wolf. Meditation is different than sitting in the power, I understand. Would you categorize prayer as the same as meditation, and why? Would I categorize it as the same as meditation? I would have to say no. I would have to say absolutely not. Meditation is simply, let me try and word this as simply as I possibly can. Sorry for the adjustment. My back is absolutely killing me. Meditation is a mind journey, and so what I do is I say to you developing mediums, right? Get yourself in a comfortable position. Find the rhythm of your breath. You're listening to my voice. You're listening with intent because your eyes are shut, and so the heightened state of awareness now goes to my hearing because you're following my voice in what to do. And so that is a mind journey. So I am taking you on a mind journey, especially guided meditations. So I take you to a lake, or I take you to the seaside, or I take you to a bench, or I take you to a hallway or a room of some sort. Then I instruct you on what to do. And so what we've got to try and do is not make it so the picture is exactly how I want you to see it, but to give you a freedom for your imagination to grow and use the mind in the way that the meditation is designed for. So I might say to you, we're entering a hallway now. And so the hallway that I am visualizing is different from the one that Mia will visualize, different from the one that Carol will visualize, and different from the one that Triangle Wolf will visualize. But the backbone of it is still a hallway. And so meditation is exactly that. It's just a journey for the mind. I'm going to occupy your thought process by thinking of said hallway. So all attention goes to hallway. Now, what we've learned through science, through the altered states, is that if I give all of my attention to said hallway in my mind, that actually doesn't need all of my mind to do that. So do you know what? The rest of my mind can just chill out for a moment. It can just sit over there for a minute, and it can just chill out to the rhythm of the breath, and we can start to feel relaxed, and it's not being occupied by busyness or our reality or the problems or the joys that we are facing on any said day. It can just chill out for a moment. It can just sit there because the mind is being occupied with a journey that I'm enjoying while in meditation. So in effect, I get you to an altered state by a guided walkthrough through words. So you are audibly taken on a journey, which then translates to a visual during your meditation. Prayer is me expressing the purity or the joy that I have for my spirit or the spirit. So whether that be the Great Spirit, the God-like consciousness, the source, whatever it will be, or the collective oneness, or the individual, my spirit, because I am spirit first, human second. And so my prayer is a spoken word from the heart. It's a time when I can invite you to listen to me. You haven't got to, ladies and gentlemen, let me invite you to my prayer. And so it's just immediately there. So join with me in prayer. So there's the invite. Come and join with me. And we just take a moment. And we usually shut our eyes. And before you know it, we have a rhythm to our breath. And we're starting to feel relaxed. And then our sensitivity goes through the roof. It goes up because our eyes are shut. All energy goes to the other four senses. Visual is shut down. We're going there and we are feeling the words that are spoken. And they are usually heartfelt words. They are a prayer. They are speaking to something greater than or more abundant than. And so the prayer is a completely different mechanic from that of a mind journey, a meditation. I think that's answered that question, I think. Yeah, so completely different for me, completely different. Okay, so Triangle Wolf again. Thank God you turned up, Triangle Wolf, because the rest of them are not asking questions. So thank God that you arrived today. I have had spirit come a few hours before sitting with a client. What do you think? Why do you think they do this? Very simple answer to that one, Triangle Wolf. It's like, so let's take the phone. The phone's a great example of that. So this is one of the iPhones. And what happened when I get the new iPhone, it's due an upgrade, so I'll be getting a new one soon, no doubt, is I'll sit here, and I know how to use it. I know how to, right, I can make a phone call, right, hello, I can make a phone call, yeah, and I can send a text. But with these phones nowadays, you've got apps, you've got to download, you've got to log in, you've got to log into your iCloud, and you've got to log into the App Store, and you've got to log into all of these things to get any of the apps to work. So I go through the painstaking process of the first day or so on working with my new phone. Here we go, and I'm just tapping away, and I'm logging in, and I'm setting it up, and I'm putting fingerprints and all that kind of stuff with it to access everything with the phone. You are in effect the phone, and your communicator will be arriving early, and I would actually say to you much more than just a couple of hours, that the communication is actually taking place much earlier, because they are understanding how you are operating as said phone call, as said phone. So that's the instrument, you're the instrument. And to learn to use this instrument, I've got to go through the processes, I've got to learn, I've got to make mistakes, I've got to get it wrong, so on and so forth. I'm absolutely certain that the spirit world, the communicators, are blending and understanding how you work in that mind of yours, because it's very unique and very individual to you. They will be trying to understand what it is that you would say if you saw this. What would you feel if I gave you this impression? And so you start to become aware, and that's when this communication happens. So absolutely, they are there before you, absolutely. And I think it's much further on than just a couple of hours. Now, I do remember off the top of my head, and I know a few of them will be in the live feed, where I have done a workshop on a Saturday, and I wrote down on the board the first 3 or 4 communications for the following Wednesday. So I could feel them there. I knew they were there. So I asked them, for the purpose of teaching, give me some information, and then invited those people that were in that classroom to come to the demonstration on that following Wednesday, because I'm certain that these communicators would turn up. So then I totally forgot about it on the Saturday. I've gone about my week. I've turned up to my dem. First 4 out with the 4 that I spoke about in the workshop on the earlier Saturday. So that's a good, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 5 days prior to actually even knowing that the client was going to be there to actually go and do the demonstration publicly. So I think it's a lot more than a few hours, mate, in all honesty. Okay, did you answer the question from Jeanette? Do you find it helpful to journal your signs and symbols in the beginning? Oh, my absolute apologies there, Jeanette. I did forget to do that one, so I will do that one right now. Did I find it helpful to journal the signs and the symbols in the beginning? Me personally, no. What I did journal was my experience rather than the signs or the symbols that I saw. I always knew that I wouldn't work with cards, or I wasn't going to work with like rune stones or crystals or that kind of thing. I knew that very early on. So I had no reason to start logging or understanding symbols in that way. So if I saw a toilet, I knew that I would have to say a toilet because that would be part of it. If I saw a car, I knew that I would have to say a car. The symbol wouldn't mean something else as such in that process. And because I speak it the first time it comes in, as the spirit team say, if they showed me an apple, a boat, then rice, then a flower, I'm not going to sit there and try and analyze that through the process of mediumship. I'm just going to say it. So now, as I work with your dad, he shows me an apple. And as I say that, I then say to Dad, why'd you show me an apple? And then I will have a feeling or a knowing of what that answer is. And it may be that he run an orchard. He shows me an apple. And now, as I've said that, he makes me aware that he actually run an orchard for the last 15 years of his life. Yes, that's correct. He now takes me to a memory of a boat. And that was the last vacation you had with him, was on a boat. The last meal that you shared together was a Chinese meal. And he's showing me the rice that you would have had. There's like a funny story with the rice, so on and so forth. So I didn't journal in that aspect. However, I did journal my first year publicly working as a medium, just for memory's sake, in case I decided to write a book, just so I had information there immediately that I could just go back to and use as a resource. But we're all different. We're all different. So if you find that there's a benefit there, understand that's you as the individual. You like to keep notes, you like to keep journals, then definitely do that, because that's going to be best for you. Hopefully I answered your question there, Jeanette. My apologies. I feel absolutely awful now. It was the first question in, and I forgot to do it. So really, I am genuinely sorry there. Okay, do you think it's an advantage as a medium to start off having a lot of checklist questions in the beginning, that kind of forms? So Mia, I recently done a video on the format in mediumship. So early on, I would say definitely it's wonderful. It's a wonderful way to get you asking questions and having engagement with the spirit world through this checklist as such, with that. However, very limiting to mediumship. It can present huge problems later on, trying to get away from the checklist aspect. So it's called, I'm certain it's called formats in mediumship. I do have my phone here, so while I'm discussing it with you, I can very quickly look, and I will get it linked into the chat there for you to have a look at, with that exact video on me discussing it. So me, like an idiot, has just pressed the wrong button, so my apologies. I know it's quite recent as well that I did that one, and it is called formats in mediumship. So so give that video a watch. Let me know what's going on, and what you thought of the video, if you agree with it, even if you disagree with it. I love the engagement. I need the engagement on the channel. It makes it worthwhile, and I'm trying to achieve this 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, so on and so forth. So any engagement does help. So let me know what you think once I get it linked up in the live chat. Don't watch it now. Watch it after the live feed. Then let me know, Mia, what you think of it. Triangle Wolf says, some people say they see eyes or flashes of faces during their silence. Do you think this is spirit trying to communicate? It can be. It can also be imagination there, Triangle Wolf. So I'm not someone that... I've seen flashes, don't get me wrong. I've seen like faces as the quietness sort of comes to me. I just think the spirit world for me are so intelligent in what they do. You know, I mean, it's incredible. I'm left... I get lots and lots of wow factors on a daily basis that it's almost become blasé, and I feel terrible for saying that. However, I think that I've developed a discipline with my own mediumship that when I'm in a classroom, or when I'm taking a circle, or when I'm about to do a sit-in, or I'm about to do a demonstration of mediumship, at that moment, I've created this discipline that when I'm working, I will move my intent to work. Therefore, whatever's in my mind, I will speak. And that's just a discipline that I created very early on. And what that eliminates is the misunderstanding of, I'm seeing flashes, I'm seeing faces, I heard a sound, what's going on, I feel like I'm crazy. And because I don't know where my mind's at and what I'm doing, I become very undisciplined, and I fall into that bracket of weird, or I fall into that bracket of not very well trained or not having much discipline. So I kind of, it sounds funny, but for simplistic reasons, what I did was I kind of come to some sort of agreement, we'll say, with the spirit world that at 7:30, when I'm heading towards a church to take an evening's demonstration, only at the point of me stepping on the platform do I want that information, and then when we finish, we finish. That's it. I do not want to be woken up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I do not want to be having weeks and weeks of endless craziness going on in my mind, not knowing what's real and what's not real. So it's kind of like a discipline or an understanding between me and my relationship with the spirit world, that was the best course of actions to take. Discipline is a must in mediumship, especially if you want to travel, especially if you want to have a reputation for this craft of mediumship, to be recognized for the work that you have put in. You can't then start talking gibberish or jargon without any kind of backup to it. So discipline for me would be the key word in answering your question now. Sitting with a client, what done that one. Oh, here we go. Carol, so when someone is on a life support machine and they come through in a communication, do you think they have one foot still here and one foot in the spirit world to be able to come through in mediumship? Okay, so a very, 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 very difficult question to answer. Up until a couple of weeks ago, I would have said that they're both feet in the spirit world, both, because they're coming through in the communication. And I've actually had it where that I've had people on life support machines come through to do their communication without giving any kind of information away there, to come through and communicate, to let me know that they are in the spirit world, but not to actually let me know, so that their loved one know that they are actually in the spirit world. And maybe there's a healing process there, or whatever. I have no idea. No idea what that is. But then that kind of got rocked a couple of weeks ago when there was someone that was in critical condition, and I was doing the communication, and I double checked my mechanic on where I was, and I was definitely in the spirit world, 100%. I hate the psychic energy. It's not something I enjoy, and so I made all the checks, and I was definitely with a communicator. I was asking him questions. He was giving me the answer. And the young lady said, yeah, he's been in an accident, but he's still very much alive. He's still here, here on Earth. He's still here. You know, he hasn't died. So there are two explanations for that I could quickly look at. And just off the top of my head, I mean, it's like if I give it immediate thought, the first one would be I'm with the wrong recipient. So someone else in the room could have took the information and they haven't raised their hand, or they haven't claimed their communication. And it's like two mums, isn't it? I mean, you may have two ladies and they're both 65. They both love baking cakes, and they both love the garden, they both love flowers, and they both passed the cancer, and it was both breast cancer, and it was, so you get this very similar thing going on, and that may be the case that happened there. I've got someone that is a problem, or had an accident, they're on life support, and it was a full venue, it was a good turnout. It may simply have been that I'm with the wrong person. The other one may be, as Carol suggested there, that they may be on life support, and it may be what I said, you know, that they are communicating through their one foot in the spirit world. I'm not so sure. It's not something that I kind of, I don't really know. So up to a couple of weeks ago, I would have said 100% they're in the spirit world, 100%. But up until that last one, I would say 98, 99% certain that the recipient was in the wrong place. It was the wrong person that I was going to. So I haven't answered the question really. But I think the intelligence of the spirit world is far greater than Charlie's mind or said person's mind. Therefore, I think I made the mistake. I think it's something I got wrong. and went to and talking to the wrong recipient. However, every statement I made was yes, and from memory, with that, there was street names and names of individuals that surrounded that person. So I don't really know is the answer. I don't really know. Now that light is too strong, so let me just leave the feed again very quickly, just to move it back. My apologies. My back is absolutely killing me. So hopefully I haven't been cut off in any way. No, there you go. I'm back. Yeah, so I haven't really answered. There is a kind of answer there, but nothing too great. So is that Ray? Did I just see Ray in the feed there? Let's have a look. So it is Ray's here. So sorry I'm late. What have I missed? You've missed loads, mate. You've missed loads. So and we've missed your questions. So I hope you've got a few questions for us to answer. So yeah, I see your. I've just answered your question, Carol. So lol. What was that one there? So where I don't know where I got up to. Did you answer the question from Jeanette? Done that. Do you think it's an advantage as a medium to start having a checklist? Answered that. Some people say it's done that. A safety net or kind of facet in the background of your open mind. Do you know what I mean? A safety net. Yeah, well, I think I answered that there, Mia. It's 100% a safety net. 100%. If you've got a checklist on the go, in your mind, they can only fit that format that you are presenting, and it's usually something along the lines of age, the sex, the relationship, the hobbies, the passing condition, and description, something along those lines there. But watch the video. It's been linked into the chat now, and that will do that. Another question. Sophie's husband would like to know, if you're married to a medium and you die first, will you get a direct line through to your wife? He doesn't believe my answer. Another question. Sophie's husband would like to know, if you're married to a medium, so Sophie's husband's married to Sophie, and you die first, so the husband dies first, will you get a direct line? I would say it'd be very, very difficult for the medium's mind to accept. Everyone in effect has a direct line. I mean, I could work with, I think I've met Sophie's husband once. I think I've got a direct line to the spirit world in that sense. However, if it was my partner, my loved one, my wife or whatever, I think it would be very difficult for me to comprehend that. I think my mind would go into over-diluting, and I wouldn't be able to do the communication very well. Although I am accomplished and have a good reputation for communication, I don't think I would do my own loved ones very well. So I don't know what answer Sophie gave, which is a little bit of a nightmare, but I'd imagine she would have said she wouldn't trust herself with that. So who knows, eh? Who knows? Let's hope that we don't find that out for a very, very long time. Do you feel it's important to understand the chakras, use them, teach about them in regard to mediumship? It depends on what angle you want to take the knowledge of the chakras down. Like a lot of people, and maybe including yourself, will tell people like mediums, or certainly within mediumship, that the solar plexus is the powerhouse for the communication. And that is absolutely 100% incorrect. Whenever I see a medium work or I watch a medium work, it's always in the blue energy. It's a communication, therefore it's the throat. So you need the mind and the throat. these are the two chakras that are needed to make that communication, not the solar plexus. If I'm working psychically, then 100% I need the solar plexus, because I connect to the individual from the center of my being to the center of their being, reading their energy. Communication from the spirit world will be the crown chakra and the throat chakra, hence why you see blue when watching a medium. So do I believe that you need to know that? Not really. I can still communicate, and you know, I teach people, and some people don't know what chakras what and what they do. However, if you're planning on teaching people and understanding the chakra system and the meridian system as part of an alternative therapy, 100% definitely find as much information on it as possible. I learned the meridian and the chakra system for personal use, just for me to understand my body in the way that I can understand. Ray, good evening, Charlie. Sorry, oh, you've already said that. I've already read that. There's the video linked for Mia. Nice to see you here, Ray. Hi from Stevenage, so hi. How do you close communications? I mean, how do you have time alone without them connecting while you want time off? That's a really good one. There is a video for that. It's called Open, Close and Protection. And so I will answer it very, very simply here. I think you would have got a lot of the answer from when I answered Triangle Wolf. It is a discipline of the mind. So I move my mind to work for the spirit world. So at the sit-in, at circle, at the demonstration, at the workshop, that's my intent to work. The moment I choose not to work, I finish the dem, I finish the class, I finish the circle, I finish the workshop, so on and so forth. I am no longer looking for the spirit world. If, however, I am driving home from said demonstration and I think, oh, that lovely old lady that I just worked with, where she come through to speak to her daughter, my intent has gone back to the lady. Therefore, it's gone back to the spirit world. So my intent is now to be open again, because I have gone looking for her. Subconsciously or consciously, I am looking for that woman now. I do not do that. That is a discipline that I created very, very early on. I do not want to be working 24 hours a day, because it will just send me absolutely crazy. So if I don't look for them, they cannot get there. Everything is permission-based in spiritual communication. And if you have done any kind of research whatsoever on the spiritual principles that were given to us spiritualists early on, late on in the 1800s, adapted in the early 1900s, where personal responsibility is principle number 5. That says it all right there. So it's understanding that if you are thinking, I wonder what the spirit world are doing right now, then you are opening for spirit. If I'm not thinking that and I'm thinking, bloody, I've got work tomorrow, I need to go and sort the car out, I need to sort the groceries out, I need to do this, I need to pay that bill, I need to organise that, I ain't got room in there. There's no room. So I'm occupying it. Therefore, I'm not communicating with the spirit world. So it is a mind discipline. And it's that simple. It's really that simple. Ray, oh God, here we go. Will your team or guide tell you if you're not quite on point, or is it down to you to figure it out through with the nodes you receive from the recipient? I think you feel it. If I'm honest, Ray, I think you feel it. So by feeling it, is that the spirit world going, absolutely not, Charlie, you totally messed that up, mate. You need to sort of re-look at that. That may be the case, because it comes in as energy. It's a purity. So if I'm feeling that through my sensitivity, I could in effect say my team are telling me I've got that wrong. You need to re-look at that. You need to redo that in some way. So I would say yes, actually. in that sense. You kind of figure it out through the nose. So I know that you have been to a demonstration of mine. You've been to a couple of demonstrations of mine now, and I know that you have been witness to a client that has said no, 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 you're completely wrong, no, no. And I know I'm right. I know your loved one is telling me this. I know this, and so I persevere and I give all the tenacity in the world. For then that client to go, oh my God, you're absolutely right. I totally forgot about that, and I totally didn't know that, or I've made the phone call, and I know you've been there when that's happened. So the no's can indicate that I'm getting it wrong. But if I followed every no as it was a no, then I would have maybe buckled under the pressure. Whereas when I know it's right, my team are giving me it right time and time again, then actually I think I've turned a lot of communications around just through perseverance. So I think not just through the nose would I figure it out, maybe a touch of that. But I think the energy lets me know that I'm getting it wrong. It feels wrong to me. And what I mean, which I do all of the time in all of my classrooms, is do you like my bright purple top that I'm wearing today? It's getting a little bit old now, but I like the colour purple. And those that haven't been in my classroom are like, what on earth is he talking about? That is not a purple t-shirt. It's a white t-shirt. And that is because the moment I said it as a purple t-shirt, there was something in that went, you're wrong, mate. That's a white t-shirt. You need to have a look on your screen or look down because that is a white t-shirt you're wearing. The energy does exactly the same thing. So as I speak it, I know whether it's right or wrong. I'm like, got that wrong. That ain't right. That don't feel quite right. So then the adjustments will come in. The repackage or the presentation of that, I will adjust slightly. So I hope that makes sense there, mate. I'm sure that's answered your question. Any tips on shutting out noise and getting in the zone when trying to bring through spirit? So Sue, absolutely Sue. What that says to me is that your development has been in silence. So everything you have done through, whether it be sitting in a circle or sitting around a mate's house like a closed circle or simply sitting on your own, you have developed in silence. So you need the quiet space, and through that process you have learned how to communicate with no ambient noise going on in the background. I realized very, very quickly that if I'm going to start working large demonstrations, that there are going to be hundreds of people talking. They are going to be whispering. They're going to be offering mints around. They're going to be making all sorts of noise. I knew very early on that noise was going to be a problem in my development when working with the spirit world. So what I did, I live very, very close to the M11 and I live very, very close to the M25. And I went and sat and learn to meditate beside the motorway. So I learned to shut out noise very early on in my development. So the key to helping you shut out that noise is by introducing noise. That sounds a little bit wrong, but I promise you that very, very quickly you will learn just to shut it out. So a lot of people use meditation, like a mind focus. So they will have a candle. Lucky I had that to hand, when it's mirrored, and they just stare at the flame. And then what they do is they can still visualize the flame when they shut their eyes. They can still visualize every detail of that flickering flame. And that is because the training that's involved by just doing that, just replace the flame with noise and you've done the same thing. So it's a process. So it just shows that you've always developed in quiet. So get the people in your circle to get the people in your closed circle, whether it's just a gathering of friends or any kind of development that you're doing. Ask them to speak a little bit louder, ask them to create a little bit more noise, leave windows and doors open just for that ambient background to learn to focus beyond it, and it's problem solved. It's a very quick and easy fix. So good question, a very good question. A lot of people will benefit from that. So, okay, so is that Alana? Alana. I think that's Alana. Sorry if I've said that wrong. Going through an awakening. Any tips on how to get through it unscathed? I don't, in all honesty, Alana, I don't know the specifics of the awakening. I don't know what specifics you're going through. However, I went through some terrible awakening process. So the easiest thing for you to understand is that the spirit world is never going to test you beyond your means. They're never going to test you full stop. They're there to go through the journey with you. So they're there for the upliftment, for the encouragement to take that really difficult step that you will find difficult. So they're there almost going, come on, I'll help you over. Let me help you up that ledge. Let me get you through this. They do not bring the test with them. They're not going, deal with that, deal with that, deal with that. That's not what's going on. So you are going through this development because at this point in your life, that's where all the A, B, and C have added up to, and now you're being presented with the D, the natural law of cause and effect. Reap as you sow. So this is what happens, and it narrows down the pathways for that. Spirit world are going to see you through it. Now, however, if you take the most difficult part of that journey, and what we all do, every single one of us do, is that we go, if I go that way's going to hurt. That's really going to hurt, but it's going to be dealt with in a week. Or I can try and manipulate it a little bit, and I can go the long way round, and it's going to take a month to get through, but I should get out the other end unscathed. Let me tell you, this quick route, bang, get it done, get through it, because you will learn so much about you, who you are, how you react, what your ego does. Does it fight or does it fly? It will just say so much about you. And that will be the underlying purpose of your awakening. And that in itself will be a priceless lesson. So there will be lots and lots and lots of videos on this channel that will help you get through the awakening that you are speaking about, or the hurdles that you may come up against. In some way, the videos will help you. So I hope that answers you, Alana. Maybe this is a good point to say that if you're not already subscribed, you lot, then it's a good time to hit that subscribe button for me. Click the little bell so you can be notified of any live feeds or uploads on the Monday, Wednesday and Friday currently. Sophie said, thanks, Charlie. I told him the same thing. Brilliant. So that's a good thing. Is he still watching? That'll be interesting. There's the other video for Sue. Was it Sue? No, it wasn't Sue. I can't remember who it was. Anne, that's it. Anne, the video's up there for you now. It's video how to open, close and protect. With that, do not be fooled by that title. There is no need for protection, but that video will explain that and the close aspect that I was talking about. So Ray says, who ultimately has control when in the altered state? You as the medium because it's your bodily process, or the spirit world as they provide the information? 100% me, because it's me. It's my body. Going back to the principles, personal responsibility, everything is an allowance. I allow the spirit world to occupy my mind. If I do not want them in my mind, I just simply remove the thought away. So I'm working with the spirit world and doing communication. Actually, do you know what? I'm going to go and do the washing up. That means there's no room for the spirit world now. I've removed my mind from it. So I am 100% in control at all times with my mediumship. Mediumship being healing, spirit communication, mental mediumship, physical mediumship, and entrancement. All are my responsibility. Cool. So, okay, got it. Same as when doing Reiki. Understood. Perfect. Triangle Wolf. Can you talk a little about healing through mediumship, as with Harry Edwards, and Reiki healing or other healing modalities. What's the difference? Okay, so healing is a process like mediumship. It's exactly the same mechanics. So the information that I'm giving through mental mediumship, boom, then I deliver. That's it. But I need the spoken word to do that. For healing, spiritual healing, I just have to be there. So I move my mind in the same way, the same mechanics to move for my healer to step in. So if this is my healing team or my healing guide, as they move over, I just don't question what's going on. I know they're here in love and in essence, and they can use me as said instrument. So I am their phone for the day. And through that process, I just move my mind and allow that energy from here pass through me as a physical into the physical. So perfect. So that's healing, spiritual healing. Trance healing. Trance is the altered state. So to be in trance, I've got to be at 7 thoughts per second or megahertz on the electrical pattern there in the mind. So it's got to be between 7 and 5 to be in trance. So I go to trance, and the trance team, whether it be spoken word or healing, same mechanic, the healing will take place. Now they may move my arms, they may they may move my arms, I may get up, that kind of thing, and they will go to the area that needs healing. So that's the trance healing. Reiki is, they call it a universal energy. Do I think it's any different from the spiritual healing that's going on there? For me, it's a different banner. It's a different way to use it. Now, I can make a text message and a phone call here off this iPhone. However, I can do the same thing off of a Samsung. So if that was a Samsung phone, they both do the same thing, but they're two separate instruments, two different banners, two different names, whatever you want to call it. So I think the Reiki side of thing has just had the man-made touch to it, where it's a requirement, you know, so I need to do this, I need to do that, and now I can train you to a master, and now you can integrate people into it, or you can just be open-minded and go for the same universal energy, that essence, and use healing in that manifestation in exactly the same way. Where I'm sure there's wonderful results that we can all discuss about Reiki. There's also wonderful results about trance healing. There's also wonderful results about spiritual healing. All of us, we can all have an input or a story that we can unfold. I mean, I've got a ton of stories from Medium Joao when I went to Brazil at the John of God Center and what he does. Ultimately, we're going to the essence. We're going to the essence, and we're trying to do the same thing. We're trying to help people. So I think anything there is labels and banners for me. So and I just think it's a lot of the time. I'm not saying in your instance, in my instance, or certainly not in Harry Edwards' instance, but a lot of the time, I'm sure most of you will agree. Individuals' egos are very much in play, and it's I'm special, look what I can do, and that's where the banners seem to fly around. In 20 years' time, there'll be another facet. There'll be another label or another banner. It won't be Reiki, it won't be spiritual healing, it won't be trance healing, it won't be psychic surgery, it won't be spiritual surgery. There will be another banner that some dude has gave another label. The essence for me, the purity of the spirit world will always be the purity of the spirit world. Keeping it nice and simple, like Silver Birch tried to educate very early on. So again, that's just my opinion. So, you know. What are your thoughts about earthbound spirits? Do you really believe that people stay behind or get stuck? Absolutely not. So another good question, one that I've been asked an absolute million times. So if I'm a lady and I'm pregnant, I wish I had a cushion in her. So I bake the baby, I get the baby ready. 9 months, hopefully. Or let's assume it all goes to plan. Everything's fine. 9 months later, waters break. Down the birthing canal, into mum's arms, into dad's arms, into midwife's, into whoever's arms. that process is complete. From conception to the development, the baking process, to the delivery. The human body, let me get the camera right, the human body transits through the birthing canal, in this case through the life canal, and into mum's arms, dad's arms, midwife's arms, whoever's arms, spirit world. Same process, exactly the same. Your physical, the moment you transition from physical, you're in the spiritual. There is no lost. To say lost, if you have any kind of God, every God that I know of, documented or spoken about, they will say is amazing, so clever, perfection in manifestation. But he made a mistake when they were leaving the body. Somewhere, somehow, he forgot to like, he left a little back door open there somewhere, and they can slip out and get lost. They read the wrong sign and took the wrong turn. Absolutely ludicrous. So it's energy. It's very intelligent, very, very intelligent. The human mind will say, what if we get lost? Through the manifestation of fear. So fear manifesting. What if we get lost? What if something goes wrong? What if I don't make it? I've been a really bad and naughty person. What if I'm not allowed to go there? You're there. It's transitional. It's immediate. So again, loads of people would disagree with that, but you know, cue the inbox. So yeah, so they don't get stuck. They don't stay behind. It's transitional for me, mate. So a really good question again. So thanks for asking it. Sue, thanks. That makes sense about the noise. Currently in closed circle, and all I hear is other pairs talking, and it puts me off. We'll try what you said. Ask them to speak up. That's the one thing. Can you be a little bit louder for me? Because I need to get over this process. I need to get beyond it. Or you start shouting, so your voice goes up, and that way you will drown it out. So it's sink or swim on that one, isn't it? But it will work for you, definitely. Do you ever use Oracle or Tarot cards, or is it not your thing? It's not really my thing, Sue. However, early on, when the world is going crazy and we found the spirit world, it's absolutely amazing, and I just want to do everything. I want to go to every dem and every circle and every workshop, and I'm going to start reading crystals and ribbons and cards and tarot, and we just throw ourselves in. I mean, we completely just overload with information, and now I'm doing healing and Reiki and yoga, and I'm going to become vegan, and I'm going to drink only water. I mean, we do all of that kind of stuff all of the time because it just makes us better. That's what we do. So no, I tried it early on. I enjoyed it while it lasted there. It was just something I liked, to activate my imagination and activate that inspiration that they offer, and then I very quickly realized it's a tool for the interpretation. So the card is the catalyst for the information to come through, and then I realized, you know what, I'd rather just go to the source of that, the purity, the essence of that, rather than through the card, if that makes sense. Again, that light's getting brighter. I don't know what's going on. This camera, these webcams, you know, they're a nightmare. Let me just adjust it again. I'm really sorry. Let me try flicking it right back. If that one don't work, then I will have to smash a bulb or something. That's a little bit better, isn't it? It's white t-shirt still looks super overexposed. Anyway, it's nothing I can do now. So let's see where we're at. Watched your vlog yesterday about your first ever demo. Do you think the way it happened for you was actually better than if maybe you were waiting and worrying about your first demo? Absolutely, mate. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was something that gave you an idea of what my journey was about. But yeah, I enjoy the vlogs as much as I enjoy the masterclass and that kind of stuff. I kind of do it, and in the very near future, when I get a moment to myself, I think I'm going to create a video, more of a movie for myself. I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to express it so truthfully and so blunt and so honestly about what I want. Yeah, I've been thinking about it for a while, and I'm just going to do it. I'm going to do one for me. So I've done, believe it or not, I've published 99 videos now. The 100th one will be tomorrow. And not one of them was for me. It's all about the viewer and the questions and trying to help people. And I thought to myself, do you know what? I'm going to do one for myself, just one, just to see how it comes out and what happens there. So Triangle Wolf, I just wasn't sure why mediums use Reiki rather than just rely on spirit. It's the banner or. It's the label. I'm certain of that. It will be the label aspects of that. God, this mic's sliding all over the place here. It will be the banner aspects of that, or unfortunately, the ego. The ego will be playing up. So it's one of those things. And if you're new to the journey, mate, you are going to encounter lots and lots more of that. So. All good fun. So where are we now? Good tip. That's that one. So Amanda, when developing, why do we go through so many different changes physically and emotionally? Great question, and obviously one that you have encountered on yourself. So let me grab a little prop. So this is my little espresso cup. Can you see that light is terrible? It's doing my head in. So I'll adjust it again in a moment. I don't want to keep jumping up, but I'll try popping one bulb on it. Okay, so the cup. So let's say that's you as a physical being, and then what we do is we emit. We're an electromagnetic field, and we emit this aura, our electronic magnetic field. Boom, boom. So in simplicity, like attracts like. So when you go through a development, and this is just booming out all the time, boom, boom. What happens is that that frequency changes, so you become more compassionate. If you're someone that's just got into healing, like Triangle Wolf has suggested, some people go down the healing path, they tend to develop a compassion. And that will alter the frequency or the vibration my electromagnetic field, my aura, transmits or lets off. So that'll just change. Therefore, if that's in the title, electromagnetic, then I will attract more things that are of said frequency, because that's how it works. It's a magnet. So you will go through physical and emotional problems because you have recently looked at it, or you've come to terms with it, or you've accepted it, or you're not accepting it. Therefore, it will just keep presenting itself. And that's why they will say things like tables will turn, or you get what you're owed, or the lessons learned through that process. And it's all through this. So emotionally and physically, maybe are things that you're looking at and addressing right now, which is at the time is terrible. It's a horrible process to go through. I totally appreciate that. However, it's growth. It's a good thing for you. Although it's never nice to hear when you're going through problems physically and emotionally. So cool. I hope that answers you there, Amanda. I'm having problems getting numbers like ages, dates, etc. What tips can you give? Okay, not a problem. Let me one last try at adjusting this light. My apologies. Let me see if I can crack that one. No. I give up. It's just not working. So, It's not great. Anyway, okay, so you're having problems with, at least it's not overexposed now. So having problems getting numbers like ages, dates, etc. What tips can you give? So what I did very early on, one of the viewers earlier asked about format. There was a format there. And what I did for dates, etc. was I had a calendar in my mind. So knowing you, Ray, I know that you've got 2 young ladies in your house, 3 young ladies, sorry Becky, 3 young ladies in your house, and I understand that they're very crafty, they like their girly bits, you know, they're proper girls, your girls, aren't they? So so I know that they'll have like calendars on the fridge or on the kitchen wall or something like that. There will be something like that in your house where the dates of the school trips, and they've got to dress up for this, and they've got to make that for homework. And that's just knowing your Becky and your girls, that I know that would be there. And so what I would do is I would use that as a tool with my mediumship. So I would say to said loved one, okay, so in my mind, use the calendar. What date did you pass? What is your birthday? What's the anniversary of your wedding? Whatever it'll be. And in that process, the calendar would flick in my mind, and it would go August. And then I would go, right, August. So get out. Right, now quickly, very quickly, take me to a number, 11. So August the 11th, and then I would have the feeling of the passing or the birthday or the wedding anniversary or whatever special occasion it was. So that's how I would get over dates as such. Numbers you can use in the same way, but that's going to be confusing to use dates on a calendar and then try and use it for a number. And if you need the number 32, then you've got a bit of an issue, haven't you? So a little bit of a problem there. So what I would do is I would go in with the first number that I've got. So I would ask them, and I would tend to get it like a digital clock as such. So the numbers, because the number can be infinity, can't it? So, and I would go in with a number. So if I wanted like their door number, I can see their door, and then ask them to show me the number. So you'd understand they live. It's got a bright pillar box red door. Yeah, and then in my mind, I have to be in and out, or I analyze it, or I overthink it. What number is that? 72. And so immediately, I will speak it immediately. And if it's wrong, leave it alone. And in the process, you start building up this firing in for it. So if it goes in at 72, but then knocks to 71, I'm kind of like, oh, right, that moves slightly. And I get a little bit curious, and it might go again 70. And 72 just might have been free in my mind. And it will keep dropping back until I get to 64, then it won't move. Then I go 64. I know it's number 64. Yes, that's correct. And so you need like little instruments in your everyday to kind of help in the mind. So it's not a format as such, but it's one that looks a lot like a format in that sense. There was something to give you an idea of the kind of thing that I did to be able to get like very detailed passing conditions. Was I went and bought a death certificate. I just went and bought a blank one, you know, and I pinned it to my wall. I just pinned it, so every morning when I woke up, I'd be asleep, you know. And I'd open up my eyes, and the first thing I saw would be this death certificate. I know it sounds crazy, but I was trying to get my conscious mind and my subconscious mind working in sync. And so what I would do is that in column 4 of the death certificate would be the medical terminology for the passing. And so I would just look at it every day. And every day, I would just look at column 4. So when it comes to working with the spirit world towards the end of the week, and I would say to them, how did you pass? fill it in for me, what's column 4, I could see my wall, I could see the blank certificate, and then they would write in the column 4 for me how they passed. So it's bringing in little things. I know how I work, and I know that you know how you work. So bring something in that can work like that, like a calendar, like a clock, like a death certificate, and that will help you eventually. It depends how quick you're looking to do it. Okay, so what's that? Champagne Sea. Hi, I would love some guidance from Spirit on my path. Okay, so I don't. You're obviously new to the channel in some way there, Champagne, and I don't do live readings. I will never, ever, ever do live readings. However, the guidance aspect for you would be one that is always the betterment of you. Now, the spirit world will always offer the message in every form. So whether you see me or whether you see one of my training mediums or a local medium in your local church, the guidance will be always one of positivity. Now, I don't know if you're still here, but for the sake of other people that may watch this on replay, it will always be of positivity. Now, if I had a prop, if I had a pie chart, it's not a pie chart, it's a coffee top, and this was 99% negative, 99%, but one sliver was positive, the spirit world would focus on that 1% every single time. Every single time. And that is to uplift you, to encourage you, for the betterment of you. So the message will always be of positivity. And the guidance aspect will always be one of faith. One of, you know what the right thing is. You know what you need to do. Your heart, your spirit knows the exact thing that you have to be doing. It's the ego or the dilution from the peer pressure maybe, or the relationship aspect there, where you go, oh, I really should be doing that, but you know, people will talk about me, and if I don't do that, then you know, they'll just say bad things and so on and so forth. Do the one the heart says, and don't worry about what people are saying, and don't worry about what they're doing. Just do what your heart says to do. That's one of positivity. It will always be that from the spirit world. So I hope that helps you in some way, Champagne Sea. The Wall. That's an interesting name. The Wall. Do you believe in Jesus? I think I do. I think I do believe there was someone called Jesus. The Nazarene, you know. I think the story, like most stories, got blown out of all proportion, you know. And so it's fixed and adjusted in accordance to the rule and regulation of the time, isn't it? So it was adjusted, the story was wrote 300 years after the actual event to fit the church. And then the church have slowly adjusted it through different amendments, and here we are, 2018, still reading those amendments that went with the story. I like to think that there was a Jesus, and that he did do fabulous things, and he was in touch with his spirit and his Father, his God, whatever part of it. I just think a lot of it is manipulated as such. Yeah, so in short, yes, I do. The Wall. Can you further explain what you mean when you talk about telling their story? Okay, absolutely. So every communication, me as an individual, let me just fire some names out here off here. So Sue and Champagne and Triangle Wolf and The Wall and Carol and Ray, they've all got their own story, and what that will be to those of you that don't know Ray, say Ray's a bloke. Ray's one of the lads, you know, and he ain't got a picture on there, so you can't even see it. So he's one of the lads, and so I can start painting a picture of a generic lad. You know, he's a hard-working guy, he loves cars, and he does all the bits and bobs, and he loves his girls, and he's in a relationship, and he does the lad thing. Very generic. However, if I told you Ray's story, that he was an absolute ratbag when he was younger, and he was all right at football. He supports a bit of a dodgy team now, but he's the smartest bloke I know. You know, he's one that puts in maximum effort when you're going out. I've never seen the guy without a shirt and a tie. He takes it very seriously when he's going somewhere important or someone places a responsibility on him. And all of these things start to tell you the story of Ray, not the generic. Not, I've got a grey-haired old lady that wears glasses and a pinny and loves baking cakes. Oh, she loves ya, and life's a little bit hard right now. Here's a pretty flower, chin up, lovey, get on with life. That's what you're seeing absolutely everywhere. However, she may have baked cakes and she may have been a grey-haired old lady, and you know, she did love her flowers, but her story shows one that, do you know what, she was a little bit naughty because she was actually money laundering through her bakery down the road for her brother Tommy, and she had no idea she was actually money laundering this. Like, she was divering about doing it. She knew Tommy was up to no good, and she ended up doing 2 years in prison. And so that's a very different element to the grey-haired old lady that bakes cakes and wears a pinny. But it's her story. So it's what your people know you to be. And that story then needs to be expressed by someone like me from a platform. So you can keep it generical, but I would prefer the evidence, and I would prefer the realness, the real part of the individual to be expressed. And that's what I mean by their story. Hope that answers you there, mate. What are your thoughts on hauntings? There are many paranormal teams and even some mediums who actually claim to be speaking to spirit in homes, and getting into where is the info coming from. So hauntings, absolutely not. Spirit is spirit, and it's in its essence love. What we're aware of is that if let me go to, I need to pick someone on it. Ray, sorry, Ray, I'm going to have to pick you again, mate. So let's go with Ray and his lovely wife, Becky. But I know that that if Ray was to give Becky a bit of an earful, or he snapped a little bit, Becky's absolutely adorable. She's a lovely woman, but she will fight her own corner, and they will have an almighty row because they're both passionate about their beliefs and what they want. And what I can do is I can walk into that home and I can touch the wall and I can feel it. I can like, whoa, that energy, that electronic magnetic field that is your aura has bled into the fabric of the building there, and I can just attune to it and see what the argument was about. So I psychometrize the building. And that's what the hauntings are. They're a psychometry of the building. And so they may see someone like the grey lady that walks down the stairs. And what's happened is there's so much fear, and loads of people go there and everyone's talking about it, that the frequency is set very simply, very easily for the psychometry of that to see the time loop of the grey lady walking down the stairs. So the mediums that say that they are talking to those spirits and that they are in communication with that spirit of that haunting are mediums that I do not believe are in control of their mediumship, and they don't fully understand the mechanic of that mediumship. Therefore, I wouldn't use them if they are communicating. And what I mean is that the spirit world will always offer an intelligent communication. So if I walk into a building, there's a very aggressive man there and he's telling me to get out, get out, get out, get out. And I go, all right, mate, all right. So I'm communicating with you, and I'm a medium, let me talk to you. I hear what you're saying, you want me to get out. But first, what's your name? And if he then goes, get out, get out, get out, get out. And I go, yeah, okay, I heard you, but tell me, what's your name? Get out, get out, get out. Then that's not intelligent, is it? That's not an intelligent communication. If he said to me, get out, get out, get out, And I go to him, what's your name? And he goes, oh, what, my name? Oh, my name's John. My name's John McIntyre. All right, okay, John. So what's the big deal here? Why do you need these people to get out? There's intelligence in that communication, isn't there? And not once, not one haunting on any of those sites or any of those people will they come through and offer an intelligent communication. Not one. Therefore, it's not the spirit world. Simple as that. That's the simple mechanic there. So, have you ever done regression? If so, what was your experience? I haven't done regression, and it's simply I don't trust anyone enough to sort of let them delve into that part of my information. So the problem I have with regression is that it's non-evidential. I can't prove it. So what you'll find is that most people are of a biblical nature. You know, there's always the one in the room that's like they were Jesus. There's always one in the room that's some pharaoh. Why is it never the tramp? Why is it never the homeless guy Bob that lived behind the bin in the town centre for 15 years and that was the regression? Why is it never normal? Why is it always got to be blown out of all proportion and so pedestal in height? And that's what puts me off of kind of regression there. So it's not my thing. Sorry. So Champagne, do you feel I'm psychic? Absolutely. Everyone is. It's a birthright. I am not chosen. I'm telling you right now, they wouldn't have picked me. So it's a birthright. So you are 100% psychic. You're not connecting is because you're over diluting the mind. And pretty much every video on the channel will help you connect much easier, much quicker, with a greater understanding. So I don't know, like it, subscribe to it, and then have a little bit of a binge watch. Then at the end of it, if you can say to me, but I'm not connecting, I wouldn't believe you because I know that all those videos there will help you no end. So have a watch, have a binge. What do you do when a client stops you mid-message while giving what you are getting evidentially and says, yeah, but what is the message? That's terrible, isn't it? It has happened. It's happened a lot. It happened a lot in the early stages, and that it really is terrible when we get to a point where we don't care what mum does evidentially, or we don't want to hear her story again. Just tell me what's going on. Means that they don't want a medium. They want a psychic. They want someone that can just, well, it's not even a psychic. They want a seer. Someone that can look into the future and make them feel better about themselves in some way. And that's a terrible, terrible place to be. In my mind, that would be a terrible place to be. They just want to hear something maybe positive, or is their life going to change? And to stop you mid-communication, mid-evidence, just to tell you what their message is, kind of sums that person up quite a lot, doesn't it? Without me having to say it. So I don't know. So it does. Got it. Thanks. Nile Fries. Have you watched Long Island Medium? Teresa Caputo. I have. How do you know you were a medium? Do you physically see spirits, or is it by sound? It's all of them. So sometimes I see it clairvoyantly, mental mediumship here. Sometimes objectively, subjectively in the mind, objectively out of the mind. It has happened a number of times. I get audibles, I hear them, I feel them, I know they're there. So how do I know? It was just an opening of the mind. I was curious, and the more and more I looked at it, the more and more evidence I got, and with the evidence came the development, and through the development then become this greater knowing. Well, I totally 100% believe that everyone is capable, or is capable of being a medium. It's the open of the consciousness. It's the allowance there. And what we do, what the brain is designed to do, is not be on shutdown. And so we analyze and we overthink. And a lot of our worlds are plagued by fear. And so we kind of don't go there because we fear something we cannot see. And until we get over that hurdle, you see so much more. So my life is so much fuller now that I'm a medium, and I look at what is around me, and don't take it for granted so much now. So let's have a look. So we're gonna have to round up soon. I'm at, what's that, an hour and a half, nearly 2 hours now. Which we're doing all right, aren't we? I'm gonna have to have a drink, so I'm so sorry for the noise there. I'll tell you what, let me quickly turn that off so you can't let me swallow gulp. So I should be back. I understand the difference, but for those that don't, can you explain the difference between a psychic and a medium? Absolutely. So let me use my my little espresso cups for the purpose of it. So me, this one's me. This is you. So who is it? Who is it? Sue. So this is me, and this is you. So psychic is me reading you. So we blend as one. That's it. Me, you. So it's me reading you. Nice and simple. My psych reading your psych. My spirit reading your spirit. So psychic. That's it. Actually originates from Greece, the word for the psyche of the individual. The aura. The electromagnetic field that surrounds us. So there it is there. So me, your loved one. Oh, this mirrored thing. Your loved one and you. And me blending with that. So that's the 3 points. So me transmitting from your loved one who is also in touch with you. So all three of us just blend. So that is the medium and the communicator blending together, trying to get you to understand that I have your mum with me. So then once we've got the 3 points of contact, so I've got you understanding through evidence. I've got your loved one here because they're giving me that evidence, and I'm transmitting it because I'm the medium in question on the day. Spiritual communication. Hope that makes sense. It made sense to me. So, but I forget sometimes, you know, like I just attack it. I just go, right, okay, I need to understand this. I need to understand that, and I forget some people don't understand that. And right below is 2 videos that explain that. I forgot I'd done those videos, so. So I hope that answers you, Sue. Although you already understand, it is a good point that we should bring it up to every now and again and speak to the people so they understand. And what is your experiences with seances? So I do my own seances with my colleague Sheila French. And they seem good. They're getting better and better as time goes on. My other seances I have attended Scott Milligan. And one of those was completely outstanding with it. And I know that there's a lot of bad press with physical mediumship and whatever. But I've been to 3, but one of them, there was something in one of those that was just truly outstanding. And I really, really, really enjoyed that one. And the other one I went to was David Thompson. And I totally, wholeheartedly believe that was fraudulent from start to finish. But that's just my opinion. So it's an argument that's not going away, is it? It won't go away right now. But so Scott still does loads down at the Banyan, and I know that he's doing a few more this year. And Banyan's in Kent, I think it's Maidstone, Ashford. It's in Ashford. It's worth it to do that. Take a little trip down there. It should be worth your time and effort. Okay, so what's your thoughts about communicating directly with the spirit person or through the guide? Some mediums seem to let their guide give them the info because they know them better or don't need to. I don't believe you need to. Because spirit is spirit, and therefore the essence is exactly the same, and it's in love. But I have also, I will work with the communicator immediately. I'm aware of Dad. I'm aware of Mum. I'm aware of said loved one. And other times it seems a little bit groggy, and it's not quite. Don't feel like I've quite made it happen now. I can't quite connect. there'll be a million reasons why that ain't connecting properly or why it ain't blending properly. So I've just done it via my team, and I'm aware of a team member giving me instruction on what to say. Very, very rare nowadays, but it has happened, so I do need to say that, so because it has happened. Okay, I have to go now. I will rewatch later. Have a good night. I'll be going myself soon, Jeanette, anyway, so thanks for joining us. And for your input. And my apologies again for missing your question so early on. Mia, adjust themselves to every new spirit person and their way of communicating. Definitely, I think. So do the guides adjust, or do the individual? The individual will always have to adjust for the individual. You know, there are some people. There will be mediums that watch this later on. There may even be mediums now, and they don't like violence, and they don't like guns, and they don't like murder or cruelty in any kind of way. Now, I'm not saying I condone it or I get it or I like it, but my mind allows it. You know, it's just like, well, you know, I've had a bit of a colourful background, and I've seen that kind of thing, and I've been involved in that kind of thing, and I kind of get why they done that. So my mind allows it. If you're someone that's very, I'm just popping to the bottom of the garden, and I welcome all the beings in love and light as I go and sit with the fairies, then you ain't going to get the murder case in your head, are you? It's just not, it's not going to happen. And so that blending attribute there has to sort of take place. It has to be different. Like the blending to my mind to that person's mind will be very, very different. So I think it's unique in every way. Have you tried table tipping? Absolutely. It's very, very easy to manipulate, but when done properly, it can be absolutely wonderful. So absolutely. So develop it and see for yourself. It's an amazing tool when done properly. Well, that's down to you, mate. So I will. We'll get a date in the bag. We'll get a date in, and we'll definitely do another Q&A with you on board. So I thank you very much again for the invite, and we will sort that out soon, mate. Saw David Thompson in the US a few years back on the fence. Scott Milligan, hopefully someday. So yeah, I've seen Scott a few times now, and you know he seems like a nice guy. So I enjoyed. One was outstanding. David Thompson, absolutely not. Like, fraudulent from start to finish for me, but you know, it's one of those things. Not sure if you saw this. How do you tell someone the difference between their own mind talking and actual clairaudience? I must have missed that one. Sorry, mate. Do you know what? Today, I actually recorded a video today called Am I Making It Up? And I don't really want to ruin that video. So look out for it, and that will answer that question. Because it will always feel like you, because it's your mind. Who else would it feel like? So, but I'll save the rest for that video. It's called Am I Making It Up? I might release it tomorrow, just for you, Triangle Wolf. I'll release it tomorrow just for you, Triangle Wolf. There you go. That's the one I'll upload. So watch it tomorrow. So yes, get what you mean. For me, that's the interesting thing when meeting people. Diversity, absolutely. Look forward to the next Q&A. Thanks for your time. Always enjoy. Love it. Cool. Perfect. So what a wonderful place to end this live feed. And look out tomorrow for the Am I Making It Up video. And dedicated. If I hadn't already edited it, I would have dedicated it to you, Triangle Wolf. As always, I do need you to hit the like button. I do need you to comment, and I do need you to share and like and subscribe and let it get out there, because it's you. You're the momentum. You people are the ones that make it happen. So I don't know how else to ask you, but click share, click like, click. But in the meantime, I'll organise another one very soon. Hopefully we'll get Ray on board for that one or the next one. where we can have a little collab going on again. And from that, get your questions ready. So we've got a whole evening of it. We've done 2 hours, nearly 2 and a bit hours. I'll schedule a little bit more time so we can go a little bit longer if need be. But it's entirely up to you. So thank you so much for joining me. And I'll see you all next time. And I'll see you tomorrow anyway on a replay and a live video, not a live. So until next time, I'll see you soon. Don't forget, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Tell anyone that you feel will get any kind of benefit from it. So thank you so much, and I'll see you all next time.